Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me on. I knew that going into yesterday, there was going to be um, people that were upset with those of us that have made our decision, and so I knew that was coming. When I look back yesterday and read what I had said, I instantly knew that what I had said didn't come out anywhere like I wanted it to come out, like I was trying to say. I wish I would have caught it in the moment, because I could have corrected myself in the moment. But unfortunately, it took me actually reading my quote to see how it's perceived, what I said, and so I just wanted to clarify that. And really, it's what's kept me up at night. Last night was people thinking that I don't love Kansas City, and I haven't really loved every minute that I've been in Kansas City. That I don't love my teammates. I don't want to fight for my teammates, and the people that I've been with this organization for 12 years. The front office has been the same my entire career. They're like family to me. I've developed great relationships with coaches and players. I bought a house in Kansas City. I the community is greatly important to me, and for my words to reflect anything besides that is something that is not okay with me, and I really felt like I needed to clarify it. And really, all I was trying to say yesterday was, my decision about the vaccine is what it is. But in 2016, when I got to the big leagues, I had just missed I just missed that window of 14 and 15 of watching Kansas City get to the postseason and get to the World Series and win a World Series. And so ever since I got to the big leagues in 2016, I've been chasing that. I want to know what that's like, what that feeling is like. We had a firsthand seat of it in 14 and 15 in AAA when guys were coming up and down. So I've been chasing that every year. I've given every day I've come out, I've given everything I had for this organization and for my teammates and my team. I've played in 500 and whatever straight games through injuries and mental times when things weren't going good for me, weren't going good for the team. And I feel like I've given everything I had every day, and all of that has been to get to the postseason. So what I was trying to say was that if I had the opportunity to get to the postseason, that would be something that might sway my views on potentially getting that vaccine. And I would love for it to be with the group of guys that we have in this clubhouse. But I also understand the business of baseball. I understand that while I'd love to be a Royal my entire career, that might not happen. And if I were to get that opportunity to be in the postseason with another team, that's playing in the postseason is something I haven't been able to do in my 7 years of being a major leaguer. And it's something that has always been number one in my baseball life. Again, I'd love for it to be with my brothers that are in that clubhouse, but I understand if it might not be. So that's really what I was trying to say. Again, I apologize if anybody ever thought that what I said was anything other than having love for Kansas City, because I have nothing but incredible amount of love for this city and the community.
Is it hard? Like, you're a guy who, you've played the 500 consecutive games, and that's been a big part of your identity, the willingness to play under any circumstance. And then, like, from an outsider's perspective, it's like, why is that the line? Like, like, had you considered that when you were talking about, like, knowing that streak was on the line and this was something you were willing to do, and having a willingness to do those things, did you get close to maybe having a different decision about it?
Honestly, I thought about it all up until we had our meeting with our front office, and they were explaining to us what we needed with the unvaccinated guys, what was needed for us to be able to play in Canada. And there it became a 2-week period where we had to get one of the shots by then. And so up until that point, I was thinking about it. I was contemplating it. Like I said, this is the vaccine thing has been a very fluid decision making for me. I'm not like a hard line no vaccine. I've always been one, and our trainers will attest to that. When they give me Advil and Tylenol for a bruise, I've always been one to resist it. I don't really enjoy putting foreign things in my body. It's not something that I've ever done. I've been very fortunate that I can count on one hand the number of times I can ever remember being sick. I've never gotten COVID. So it was just I've never been a guy that likes to take medicine or do any sort of thing like that. And so I have a doctor at home. I've seen it since I was a long time, and not to get really too much into it, but I've made the decision based on my life experience and people that I trust. And but it's a fluid conversation. I don't have a problem talking to people on both sides of it, learning, continuing to learn, and it's something that I'll continue to look into.
How polarizing has this been in the clubhouse? Because I mean, some reporting would say that like some of your teammates were upset. I mean, maybe that's over the comments, or maybe that's just over the group of guys who chose to be unvaccinated. But how polarizing has it been inside the clubhouse?
I haven't seen any polarization with it. If people feel a certain way, they haven't expressed it. So I've had nothing but people come up to me and support me that are my teammates in the clubhouse. So if someone does have a problem, with it, I'd be more than happy to talk to them. But I haven't had that conversation with anybody.
Do you fear at all, like if any of that is true and the stuff that we talked about, like you've done so much to stay on the field, do you worry at all about your effectiveness as a clubhouse leader if those comments that you were worried about, the way they came out, get construed that way with teammates?
Yeah, again, that's why I really wanted to come on here and try to clarify things. It had nothing to do with my time at Kansas City, with being in that clubhouse. It was just, if I have a chance to play in the postseason, I would definitely consider getting vaccinated. So again, I would love nothing more, honestly, nothing more than to do it with those guys in there, because I've seen what Kansas City is like when teams are good. We caught the tail end of that in 16. I saw every Friday night, every Saturday, packed out Kauffman Stadium. I know what that's like. I know the passion of the fans, and I would love nothing more than to be able to bring that back to this city. And so, yeah, I mean, the comment was meant to be a representation of how important the postseason is to me, and really nothing more. And I get in trouble even with my wife. I ramble too much sometimes, and things just, words just continue to come out, and I continue to talk, and sometimes they just, it's always like the next morning, like, go and apologize to her. I know I said this, but it's not what I meant. You know what I meant. You know where my heart is, and I think the guys in the clubhouse know where my heart is. And again, it was just supposed to be a representation of how important playing and playoff baseball is to me. And it makes me sick that it came out a different way.
I think it's mostly internet speculation, but just your thought on any of the idea that your injury leading up to it would have been differently, or you would have played if you knew you weren't going to play in Toronto. Because I think, anybody would wonder, like, you had great things to say about what that streak meant to you, then the injury happens, but knowing you weren't going to be able to play in Toronto, did you think, like, I guess your thoughts on any of the internet speculation that would be that those two things were somehow aligned?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to our training staff and our front office about this, and I was like, look, guys, I understand the timing of this and what it looks like, but I said, if I could have had this happen a week prior or 2 weeks prior, I would have chosen that, but I couldn't really control when it happened. It was I played through so much, but I've never had something in such a place on my body that was going to hinder me, offensively, especially, that I just, it would have been embarrassing for me to swing a bat. I'll say that the first couple of days, it would have been embarrassing for me to go up there and try to put a good swing on the ball. And again, it bumps right up to this Toronto series, and that's just incredibly unfortunate. But I couldn't control the timing. So
When with the group of players that had chosen, like I don't think any other team had more than 4 players who were unvaccinated who got put on the COVID list heading up to Toronto. When you like look at the group, I think that's the other thing that from the outsider's perspective, people kind of view is were you this catalyst grouping the guys together and figuring out, hey, this is a like let's band together to stand up against this. Is that how it was inside the clubhouse? Is it 10 individual decisions? What were those conversations like? I guess people are trying to figure out, your team ends up with 10 players who are making this decision when it seemed like other teams had so few.
I know of 4 other guys that weren't vaccinated. I mean, it wasn't really a common discussion in the clubhouse until we had our I guess initial meeting leading up to Toronto, where we realized, oh my God, we got 10 guys that aren't going to be able to make this trip. Again, it's such an unfortunate situation. I mean, everyone, I feel like, should have the choice to make the right to make their own choices when it comes to stuff like this. And it's just, we were able to go play in Canada last year, and then they came out with this mandate, and it is what it is. Unfortunately, we had 10 guys that felt like it was they made the choice not to get it. So
When those conversations, I think Dayton had said in an interview, you had reached out to him and spoken to him. What was that conversation like? You've known Dayton so long, and he sounded frustrated with, he sounded frustrated with maybe how the comments came out or frustrated about the situation. But how was that conversation with Dayton?
Well, I immediately reached out when I realized, like I said earlier, what I said. I would be frustrated with myself too. I mean, I read the quote and I was like, oh my God, I wasn't misquoted. And I was like, oh my God, this is not at all what I was trying to say. And so I wanted to reach out. I reached out to him and JJ, and I wanted to be known what I was trying to say. And I told them exactly what I just told you, that if it came out like I have any ill will towards Kansas City, that's not at all what I was getting across. All I was trying to say was how important playoff baseball is to me.
Do you think that they were understanding of that? I mean, in those conversations, do you think they went well with ownership? Because I guess that would always be the fear for anything. It's like when there's negative backlash, you worry about the people who are in control continuing to be frustrated with you, I guess, after the fact.
I feel like it went well. Again, we've been together for 12 years, myself and Dayton and JJ and Scott, and they know me. They know what I'm about and where my heart lies. And we might not agree on everything, but they know at the end of the day that I'm going to show up for this team. I'm going to play as hard as I can every day. And it's this is almost like the first, I guess, kind of non-baseball issue that we've had to come across. So again, they know where my heart's at the end of the day, and I just wanted to make sure that they understood that what I was saying, or what I was trying to say, and what I said lined up.
I think when you look at like kind of, there's the Dayton end and the organizational end, and then there's guys like us who talk on the radio, but then there's also the fan base end of this. I think you've been probably known as a fan favorite for a large majority of your time in Kansas City in the big league club. Just what were your emotions like, or how was you processing that last night as you're kind of seeing the backlash kind of hit that scale, especially with the fans?
Oh yeah, I knew that certain people, there are going to be people that weren't happy with our decision, the guys that were unvaccinated. But I've always been one to be upfront and honest with you guys. I've always said, I'm from day one. It comes back to what I just said, how I kind of ramble on too much sometimes, but I've always been honest with you guys, and what I said didn't reflect what I honestly was trying to say. And when it came to the whole playoff thing. So when I saw that, I contemplated. I didn't know what was best to do, and finally came to the conclusion I have to clear this up. I have to say what it was that I was trying to say, and then if I can clearly state what I meant, what I wanted to say, and then people can make their decisions. But I don't people being mad at me. That's part of life. That doesn't bother me a whole lot. But when people are upset based on something that was worded poorly coming from my mouth, that's when that's when I lost sleep about it. So I just wanted to make sure that I cleared things up. I expressed exactly what I was trying to express, and that there was absolutely no ill will towards anything with Kansas City, anything. And that's what was important to me. And so I hope people can understand that. They might, choose not to and have already written me off, and there's not much I can do about that at this point. But try to say what I meant, what's in my heart, and I'll always have nothing for love for Kansas City. I mean, this is, again, I have a home here. I spend time here. I'm in the community here. I love the people here. People have been nothing but amazing to me, and I'll always love Kansas City, no matter what people think of me moving forward. I'll always love Kansas City.
You said you reached out to Dayton and JJ. Did you reach out to other teammates? I mean, some of the guys, the 3 or 4 guys you said you might have known, you guys were all kind of expecting the backlash, and even the guys you found out. But when this happened, have you reached out to other teammates to kind of clarify, I guess, where you're coming from?
Yeah. I talked to pretty much. Well, I talked to a lot of the guys earlier today. We had some. I talked to a couple guys last night, and then a lot of the team was traveling last night, so I wanted to wait until this morning to reach out to them, and so that's what I did.
Did any of this, and it doesn't matter what you've made it clear, like the choice you made and how you kind of came to that decision, but does any of this, like, have you reconsidered your stance? Do you consider, because you've said, look, things could change anyway. You're constantly kind of evaluating it, is the way you put it. Does all of this make you think, I don't know, maybe I had it wrong, or do I want to do it the other way? I mean, I'm sure you've gone back and forth a little bit here lately.
I mean, honestly, it's been about just clarifying my message and making sure people understand, what I'm trying to say. It's a constant, it's a fluid decision for me. I haven't got to the point where I'm comfortable getting the vaccine. I've had, this is kind of a sidebar, but I've had a lot of people that I know that have directly been affected, and even though, well, I'm not going to get into that, but this decision has not been made lightly. I mean, I can't express that enough. And it's a decision that I'll continue to think about. Honestly, I will, and maybe at some point my mind will change. But as we sit here right now, I'm a healthy 33-year-old. Again, I can count the number of times I've been sick on one hand. I've never gotten COVID, and there might be a time where my mind changes. But it's not from lack of listening to either side. I mean, I can say it. You guys don't have to believe me, but I really do listen to both sides of it, weigh the options. So,
Whit, is there anything else you want the fan base, your teammates, Dana and JJ to hear, I guess, before we let you get out of here? I mean, you've made it clear, the comments, I guess, and the way that you said it, and I do understand that, like how I think I understand how you meant it, but is there anything else you feel like could have been lost in this, or you wish people knew, I guess, before I let you go?
Well, I mean, the main thing is, I didn't want anybody. Well, my main point of all this is that I love Kansas City to death. I love my teammates. I've loved my time here. I love being a Kansas City Royal. The fact that I said the thing about the other team, that's just because I understand the business of baseball, and that I might not be here when my career's done. And I just kind of understand that. And so the fact that came out made it sound like I'm just trying to get out, and that's not the case at all. I mean, these are my best friends in the world. I'm in weddings. I hang out with these guys in the off season. I don't want to leave them. You know, I don't want to be away from them. You know, I have a house in Kansas City. I'm comfortable in Kansas City. I have my favorite restaurants. I have my favorite places I go to. I love it there. And so I just wanted to make sure people understood that.